So guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about my eating disorder journey and my recovery and basically all about my story and how it made me who I am today. I wouldn't be me without it, but it was a really tough journey. So I'm basically sharing this with anyone who can resonate, who's going through something similar or just wants a bit of guidance. Yeah, so keep watching if you want to know more. Trigger warning though for anyone who is sensitive to this topic. Don't watch if you are sensitive to eating disorders and anorexia and stuff like that. So just letting you guys know. So I grew up in London and I was in London for 20 years. I was quite the person that really always wanted to fit in. I had this desire and urge to fit in with other people and just be liked and be popular, and I was an only child. Well, I am an only child still, but being an only child, you have this need to make friends, like build family outside of home, just so you could have people to rely with, you know, so yeah, which wasn't easy in itself. When I was around 16, my parents got divorced, and it wasn't easy, of course, but at the time I didn't quite acknowledge everything, and I really just put it to the back of my head. Bear in mind, I went to an English school, and I don't know if you guys know what GCSEs are. It was my GCSE year, so I really had to focus and study, but I just made it really hard for myself to do that. When I was 16 and the divorce started happening, I decided that I was going to be known as the party girl, as the rebel, as someone who liked to have fun, because I suddenly started getting really popular and everybody wanted to be friends with me, and I really liked that validation feeling. So I just carried on more and more and more into this dark cycle. So if any of my friends are watching this, they probably know about how I was from 16 till like 18, or even 15 till 18. I just was partying. It was parties at home. I was always having people over, drinking, smoking weed. It was very just no ambition at all, and I was extremely lost, but I didn't realize that at all during the time, so I tried to distract myself with everything as possible, such as partying and making these friends. And yeah, I wasn't really focused on food at that time. I was smoking a lot of weed, so I was eating quite a lot because I got the munchies a fair bit. But that was kind of my distraction, was partying, being popular, doing drugs and alcohol. Just that was my outlet, but I didn't realize that was an outlet at the time. It was just me living life. Fast forward till I'm like now what, 17. Parents are divorced. I just want to let like a disclaimer that my parents are my best friends. I'm extremely close with them, so there's nothing bad happened between me and them. They were very patient with me, so I give them a lot of credit for that. I then got into modeling. I decided that I wanted to model. My mother she used to be a model, so she did really well. She's beautiful. I decided that I was going to follow her footsteps and start modeling. My mother did say, like, be careful, the industry is tough. And I'm like, oh well, I'm super tough, you know, I can go through anything, and I'm super thick skin. Again, not dealing with my emotions, right? So I'm going into this modeling industry, again, not happy within myself, but I don't really consciously know that. So I approach every agency in Europe and basically worldwide. I get rejected everywhere, and at the time I was very much like, I'm not worried about it, like it's totally fine, it's cool, but obviously deep down I was very like, is something wrong with me? Am I not good enough? Again, searching for that validation, and I couldn't get it through modeling. So I just got really caught up within myself. So I suddenly thought to myself, oh, maybe I'm not thin enough. A few agencies I went to, and they said, oh, I just needed to lose a bit of weight here and there for different measurements, and that's kind of when it was a bit of a trigger for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna start to lose weight. I was, I think, gonna be 18 very soon. I just started smoking a lot of cigarettes, drinking a lot of coffee, and not eating. I decided that I was gonna work out twice a day and just train and not eat. I would be waking up in the morning, coffee, smoking a cigarette, going to class on no energy, nothing, and I thought it was okay because I felt really buzzed up, but it was literally my fight or flight response just going absolutely crazy. So I did this for a few, towards many months of just living this lifestyle, and I didn't think I was doing any harm. I was very discreet with what I was doing. I really just kind of lied about when I was eating, lied about, you know, oh, I didn't work out today, when I had worked out really early in the morning so no one could see that I had worked out. So it just became a game of making sure that no one noticed. Because deep down I kind of knew that this is a really strict lifestyle, but I really, really loved it. It gave me such pleasure and fulfillment. So I just carried on and I couldn't seem to stop. And that's kind of when everything catapulted. I think everyone during COVID, every kind of problem kind of came to the surface because you were at home all the time. You really weren't allowed to hang out with anyone. So it was just like you yourself and just in your own thoughts. So I decided that I was going to continue what I was doing, but just really strict regime of not eating until like 1, and I would only eat a mango and like a little bit of a banana at 1 and then starve all day. So it was not a really good way of living, and I realized that I was really stuck, but I couldn't get out. Because I was living with my mom and my babushka, so my Russian grandmother, my mom's mom, they were like, she has a problem, but I didn't seem to believe that I had a problem. I thought everyone was over-exaggerating, and I decided that like that's just they're all over-exaggerating. I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing and no one can stop me because I love what I'm doing and I think I'm feeling great, I'm looking great. I thought, because I lost a drastic amount of weight and I was super happy within myself now. But that was just the start of everything going downhill. One night I'm at home and I remember my babushka had this blood pressure machine because she has high blood pressure, so she would measure her blood pressure at times with the machine. And that one night I wasn't feeling great and we decided that we would just check my blood pressure to see how everything is going, because I knew at that time like things were running really slow in my body. But yeah, we took my reading and my reading was not good. So my reading came to a conclusion of 80/40 with a 38 heart rate, and I knew at that time that this was quite low, but I didn't quite understand how low, so I started like Google researching. There was no ChatGPT at the time, so I couldn't ask AI for advice. But from the research that I got, I was like, okay, I need to call the ambulance because this could lead to something bad. So the ambulance comes and I'm freaking out. I'm thinking I'm gonna die. I'm like suddenly eating all different types of food, like biscuits and stuff, just because I thought it would save my life. And then I'm feeling this immense sense of guilt that I wanted to throw it all up. Ambulance came and they said that my heart was going to stop. At that time I was very confused because I was like, why? Like, I'm fine, everything's fine. And they did all my measurements and stuff, and yeah, things weren't looking good. My heart was very weak. Blood sugar was extremely low. Like, my body was essentially shutting down. At that time it was a huge reality check because I really thought there was nothing wrong. So the ambulance then did the procedures and stuff and basically said that I would have to go to hospital and I need to start treatment. I developed this thing called pericardial effusion around my heart, which basically is when your heart starts to leak, or an organ starts to leak essentially, because when you starve yourself, your organs start to really suffer, and one of the causes of this malnourishment is leaking organs, and it happened to my heart. So I was living in these MRI machines and just making sure that the leaking and fluid around my heart didn't progress. Otherwise we'd have to do some drastic measures to save my heart. My life did a 360 after that. I was essentially living in MRI machines for my heart. I had to live on different monitors, heart monitors for obviously my heart, blood pressure monitors. My body was shutting down. And it was extremely surreal because I had done this all myself. It was crazy to believe that I just refused to believe that I did this to myself and that I had an issue just myself normally. But it was pretty evident that I was extremely malnourished and my body was unable to handle it anymore. Life was tough during those moments, and it was in hospital, and I felt very alone because I really struggled to eat. And I don't think, unless you've been through it or are going through it, you know what I mean, that how hard it is for us to eat. And I was crying and just extremely depressed that I really just didn't see a way out. I just thought not eating would be okay, but I had to eat to live. And it took me a long time to realize this. I could blab on about everything and carry on talking, but I don't want to do that. I recovered though. I moved to Spain in Marbella. I left hospital and decided that things were going to change and I was going to live. I moved to Marbella, Spain. I had never been here before. It was still kind of pandemic situation, like 2021, 22. And I decided that I wanted to get my life back. I want to be a future mom. I needed to get my period back. I didn't have my period for many years, obviously, because of malnourishment. And I decided that I was going to do everything in my willpower to get back to my true self. So I, myself, created my own plan. This is not to say anyone should do this. You need professional help. I had already gone through that, and I had come to a stage in my life where like a healthy weight that I could go, but it was still, I needed to be extremely cautious with what I was doing and how much more I needed to gain, and just getting my period back and just basically understanding what healthy eating is. So I did my own plan, and if anyone knows, skiing is my life and sport. Ski racing with my dad is something I've done my whole life, and it's my passion to share it with him. And obviously when I was going through this eating disorder, I couldn't do any sport. I couldn't even go outside for a walk because my body was too weak. So obviously my father saying this happened was extremely upset because we couldn't do what we loved together anymore. And it was September, and I decided that by December I am going to ski race and ski with my dad in December. And the doctors were like, you won't ski for another year. It's gonna take a long time for you to get your period back and just to get, you know, strength back. But I was so determined that I was gonna do everything in my willpower to get strong again. So 2 to 3 months pass by, my period comes back, and it was such a testament to myself that I have done this, I'm doing well. I was eating enough, I was eating healthy, I was not overtraining. I was learning to love myself again and love my body for what it was letting me live now, and I had to learn to listen to it and honor it in the best way possible. So the period came back and I decided that, okay, things are gonna work out. I was skiing again with my dad in December, and it was really hard for me to be in Switzerland with all these amazing food and still kind of trying to adjust to the way of living that I had, you know, tried to really eat so healthy. And then you were coming to Switzerland, all these amazing schnitzels and pastas and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, I was very overwhelmed, but I pushed through, and I was making my father really happy, and seeing my dad happy made me extremely happy. I am who I am today because of this, because of what I went through. And it's really hard to see at the time when you're going through something so hard and thinking that you're never going to make it through. Always look for the silver lining in life. This was mine. I'm very happy within myself, the people that are surrounded by me. Created a business to help people, to show what really true health, and you don't have to live in restriction. You can enjoy your life. I worked on Suicide Watch in London at a hospital called Great Ormond Street for children, and I was helping them just see that life is worth, again, living. And we're so young when we're going through this stuff that our whole lives are ahead of us, and we forget that. We think that life's gonna stay like this and it will never change, and you're gonna be always depressed and never find joy or purpose. But things come from good things come from bad situations. You just have to wait and be patient. I wanted to just share this so people kind of get an idea. Like, I'm not just a wellness girl who likes wellness. There's been a journey to get here. You will guys see in the next couple months. Just something I've been working on for many, many years. So yeah, learn to love yourself for who you truly are, and the right people will come to you with the right intentions. Life is so beautiful, and it's so much bigger than you think. Find something that truly makes you happy, gives you purpose, and surround yourself with people who genuinely love you for you. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions or anything about eating disorders or want a bit of advice, please feel free to reach out to me.